Hi there. Welcome to the program Your Doctor in COVID. I'm Dr. Mahendra Carpen, Head of Medical Services and Cardiology at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation. If you have questions, you may send them by WhatsApp to 620-6275, or you may send email to docandcovid@gmail.com. Today, as usual, I'm wearing my mask over my nose and mouth, but I'm going to take it off because I'm alone while this is being recorded. And so therefore I pose no risk to anyone around me because there's no one, and no one else around me is posing a risk to me. So we continue with our approach to answering questions that are posed by residents of Guyana. And this is a very unique question that we received, and I'm actually very happy to be answering this. It is very Guyanese in its nature. So here is the question. People in my area are of the opinion that high wine kills or prevents COVID. Please enlighten. Now this came from someone not in the Georgetown area, but outside of Georgetown, more in the countryside. And I can tell you that I relate to this, having grown up in the countryside and interacting regularly with people from those areas. This is a very uniquely Guyanese question. So first of all, let us understand what is high wine. High wine, in our setting, in Guyana, we have two main producers of high wine, the Banks DIH high wine and the Demerara Distillers high wine. Its equivalent in Jamaica is the Ray and Nephew overproof rum. Essentially, what this means is that the alcohol content in this particular product is very high. So it's about 69% alcohol in the Guyana product, and I believe 64% in the Jamaica product. Now, this is actually meant for human consumption at this stage. A lot of our alcoholic products are exported in a much more concentrated format and then rebottled and reprocessed in other areas. And that's a different type of high wine. It is not meant for consumption in that state, but after further processing. I believe the export concentrations are about 90 to 95% alcohol. So in that state, that is not meant for human consumption. So when we talk about high wine that is being used for consumption, we're talking about those that have about 60 to 70% alcohol content. This is actually quite different from what we know as bush rum. And again, those who have any roots or any experience growing up in the countryside will know that there is a thing called bush rum. And what is it really? It's very, very strong alcohol. It's illicitly distilled, means it's not properly distilled. It's homemade usually. And oftentimes it can have toxic impurities. This can harm your liver, kidneys, your eyes, and even your heart. And it may be produced in very unsanitary conditions using very old archaic technology, old unclean barrels on the tents and sheds, etc. And that can add to the impurities and the potential risk for harm not related to COVID to the human body if consumed. So here is a fact, and there's no debating or so. In no way will consumption of alcohol protect you from COVID-19 or prevent you from being infected by it. That's a fact. So there's no COVID benefit for the consumption of alcohol. Toxic substances that smell like ethanol can be added to alcohol. They may be present in alcoholic products that are not intended for human consumption, such as disinfectants that we use to clean our hands. Methanol can be fatal. It smells like alcohol, but even in small amounts, this can be fatal, or it can lead to blindness and kidney disease. In fact, deaths related to the ingestion of such alcoholic products based on mistaken belief that they will somehow offer protection against COVID virus have already been reported. They have already occurred in some countries during the COVID-19 outbreak. So it's a very serious issue of misconception of how we can use alcohol. Alcohol is actually used to clean surfaces, and that's the benefit in COVID. So alcohol is not to be consumed for the protection or prevention against COVID-19. The effect or the benefit for alcohol in COVID-19 is to clean your hands and clean surfaces. So let's look at alcohol consumption and COVID. Alcohol use, especially heavy use, weakens the immune system and reduces the ability to cope with infectious diseases. It alters your thought processes, your judgment, decision making, and behavior. And I can imagine, particularly in this pandemic, you may feel euphoric, you may feel brave and untouchable, and someone may very well be tempted to take their mask off or hug a stranger or get closer to somebody. And that can pose a potential risk to you, because alcohol, one of the things it does is to cause what we call disinhibition. It allows you to feel free and you're not afraid of anything, and that in itself can actually put you at risk. Heavy alcohol use increases the risk of acute respiratory distress syndrome, one of the most severe complications of COVID-19. This is one of the reasons why people die with the COVID-19 infection, because they develop respiratory distress syndrome. It's not the only reason, but certainly one of the main reasons. So let us look at a couple of myths versus facts as it relates to alcohol consumption and the COVID-19 pandemic. So the first myth: alcohol consumption destroys the virus that causes COVID-19. That is a myth. What is the fact? Consuming alcohol will not destroy the virus. Consumption is likely to increase the health risk if a person becomes infected with the virus. Alcohol at a concentration of at least 60% works as a disinfectant, but it has no such effect within your system when it is ingested. So it is to clean external surfaces, not inside your body. Next myth: drinking strong alcohol kills the virus in the inhaled air, the air that you breathe in. What is the fact? Consumption of alcohol will not kill the virus in the air that you breathe in. It will not disinfect your mouth and throat. It will not give you any kind of protection against COVID-19. So thinking that drinking strong alcohol kills the virus in the air that you breathe in is absolutely false. Next myth: alcohol, which includes beer, wine, distilled spirits, or herbal alcohol, stimulates immunity and resistance to the virus. That is wrong. The fact is, alcohol has an adverse effect on your immune system and will not stimulate immunity nor viral resistance. So those are some common myths and the facts that are actually associated to dispel those myths. So let us look at alcohol, what to do, what not to do during the COVID-19 pandemic. You should avoid alcohol so that you do not undermine your own immune system and health, and do not risk the health of others. Stay sober so that you can remain vigilant, act quickly, and make decisions with a clear head for yourself and others in your family and community. However, if you drink, keep your drinking to a minimum and avoid getting drunk or intoxicated. Now, many persons will have social drinking, a drink once or twice a week, a glass of wine, a bottle of beer with their friends. This is not that kind of alcohol consumption. We are talking specifically about high amounts of alcohol consumption, what some may consider alcohol abuse. That is the main problem that we are addressing. That consumption of small amounts of alcohol, socially, we are not preaching against that. What we are doing is saying that there are no benefits of alcohol consumption as it relates to COVID-19 infection. So, again, what are the do's and don'ts of alcohol during the COVID-19 pandemic? Never mix your alcohol with medications, even herbal or over-the-counter remedies. This could actually make them less effective, or it might increase their potency to a level where they become toxic and dangerous. Now, we all know that medications, even the best medications, have some side effects. Using them with alcohol may sometimes exacerbate these side effects and make it worse and reduce the actual benefits that are intended by these medications. Do not consume alcohol if you take any medication acting on the central nervous system. These are like narcotic painkillers, sleeping tablets, antidepressants, etc. And why not? Because alcohol might interfere with your liver function and cause liver failure or other serious problems. Alcohol can affect you from head to toe. It can affect the brain because it causes excitement, euphoria, depression, disinhibition. It unmasks underlying psychiatric issues, and it can cause all kinds of social issues at home and in the community. So it is not something that we are advocating. We are simply stating the facts as it relates to alcohol during the COVID-19 pandemic. There are no health benefits associated with alcohol consumption, not to treat nor to prevent the COVID-19 infection, and the only benefit we can push alcohol for is to clean surfaces and to sterilize hands and to help reduce the spread of the virus from surface to human contamination. So that is the specifics that I wanted to delve into as it relates to this unique situation in our Guyanese population. The consumption of high wine, or for a matter of fact, any alcohol product, is not for the benefit of fighting against the COVID-19 pandemic, but it can be used to actually clean surfaces. It can be beneficial for external use, not internal use. So I hope this answers the question as it relates to alcohol consumption and COVID-19. Remember, if you have any questions, you could WhatsApp 620-6275 or send your emails to docandcovid@gmail.com. Thank you.